As you can see, we got ourselves in trouble again last night. I think we really have to learn and stop driving to backcountry spots right before dark.
There's somewhat of a road.
What do you think?
We're gonna go a little further.
People think this is fun. Oh.
There's no room to turn around.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you won't get lost.
Where are we here?
Use your map and pay attention to the changing weather. You'll visit the highest peaks in the park, as well as the lowest point in North America, and maybe the windiest. Death Valley can be unforgiving, but also it has a lot to offer. So what are you waiting for? One of America's largest and unpredictable parks is waiting for you. Welcome to Death Valley. Our journey begins not with the park, but with an art installation just on the outskirts of it. This odd place is home to some curious pieces, such as this incredibly creepy version of The Last Supper. Also, some pixelated nudity. And a ghost trying to sell you their junk. Even the wildlife looks like an art piece, until they give themselves away.
It won't move. It just doesn't move. Oh, it moved.
We don't know where we want to enter the park, as we don't know what to expect. We are coming in from the northeast. Beautiful mountains all around us. We are loving this drive. But eventually, we do find ourselves at the front gates of Death Valley. Immediately driving around the corner of the pay station, we are greeted with Death Valley's massive landscape. Death Valley is pretty massive, and it is one of the biggest parks in the USA, and it shows. Driving anywhere is not a quick process. It was over an hour before we found ourselves at their first point of interest, which was the Wonder Mine. The sun's already getting low, so we don't want to spend too much time, but it was on the way. Now this mine, I'm sure, was once quite profitable, but now sits abandoned overlooking the massive and gorgeous landscape that is Death Valley.
Pretty cool place, but the view is nicer.
One last look, and it's time to find camp. Well, it looks like we're too late to find an actual campsite tonight, so we're heading into the backcountry. Death Valley allows you to camp anywhere as long as you're 1 mile from any roadway. However, we're definitely not making it that far tonight. The road isn't difficult, and any semi-capable vehicle with 4-wheel drive can make it in. But we're carrying a house with us after all, so easy does it.
There's somewhat of a road.
What do you think?
We're gonna go a little further.
Should we go for it?
Yeah, we're gonna go for it.
Okay. Well, we came this far.
We don't drive too much further. In the dark, it's hard to see, and the road is all but washed away from previous flooding. We're stopping here. This is home.
We made it out. The road is right there, so thank God. It was much easier now in broad daylight than it was going to be last night in the pitch darkness. So I'm happy we're out of here. I think we're gonna leave this backcountry camping on the side for a little bit until we can make maybe a bit better decisions instead of always picking the adventure over comfort. So yeah, we're gonna be spending the day in Death Valley. So we're going to the general store right now, and we're gonna be picking up some supplies, a map, and then we're gonna do some awesome sightseeing. Let's do this. Old truck.
Other old truck.
We got our supplies.
Coffee 1, coffee 2, patch 1, and patch not 2. We got
And some $7 muffins.
$7 muffins.
Yeehaw.
With a map in hand, we figure out our plan of attack for this giant park.
The Mesquite Flat Sand Dunes is a massive sand dune area on the bottom of a dry ocean bed in Death Valley, which is a must visit. Check it out.
This large sand dune area is a great way to start off our day in Death Valley. Some of these sand dunes are nearly 30 meters high.
Sand is so soft. It's like touching a cloud.
It's more dust than it is sand almost.
You can walk for miles and almost be nowhere. Be careful when exploring this wonder.
So we're here on the Mosaic Canyon Trail in Death Valley National Park. Right now we're walking through a dry riverbed that comes off the mountain. So we're going to check this trail out, a couple kilometers, 2 or 3. We'll see what it's all about. Let's go.
The twists and turns and often brilliant colors of Mosaic Canyon turned into a massive opening that must have been quite impressive when there used to be water running through here. Now extremely dry and still rather warm for this time of year, it still stands impressive over us.
How do you get up? Gotta
Yes.
make our own path. Oh, I think it's right here.
Yeah. Just step right here.
This may or may not be elegant.
I'm sure it won't. Good job. All right, now it's my turn. Okay. Cool. Keep going.
It seems like this hike was on for a long time, and at some point we need to turn around. It looks like this will do just fine. Heading back to the main road, passing many travelers on our way, we are heading to one of the park's most southern points. We are on an extremely narrow road that winds and turns for over 10 kilometers up a steep mountain pass. We have a feeling this is going to be worth it.
So we just drove up almost 1,700 meters. We were below sea level before we drove this road up to Dante's Peak. No, wait. Yeah, Dante's Peak. Crazy drive, beautiful drive. I can't wait to see the view. I didn't get to see it in the driver's side, but let's check it out.
Storm is coming. It's windy. Check this view out. Wow.
was worth it.
The drive up to this peak is not for the faint of heart, and definitely not towing a trailer, and is certainly a must-see in this grand park. Heading back down the mountain, we have one more stop along the way, another accessible hike with some nice views.
We're here at Zabriskie Point in Death Valley.
Yeah.
This place is a great spot. You don't want to miss it. Easy hike and gorgeous views.
Check it out.
Zabriskie Point was only 100 meters from the road, and a really cool place to see before we ended our first full day here in Death Valley.
Good morning. We're in Death Valley, and something interesting to know is that they say there's only about 2 inches of rain all year in this entire park. We got it probably in the past 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's been non-stop raining. Last night, crazy torrential downpour. Felt like we're in the Amazon rainforest or something. So we spent the morning just working instead of going to see some sights, but it's starting to clear up.
Yes, finally it's clearing up so we can enjoy a little bit of sightseeing here. Slippery.
Yeah, let's go check some stuff out.
Finally.
Battling the severe wind, we are driving south along a different route from yesterday.
We're at Badwater Basin. This is the lowest point in the entire North America at like minus 88 meters or something like that. Crazy.
And with all the rain we just received of the past 24 hours here, a new landscape emerges that isn't seen too often. It's really windy here, and our voice can barely carry through the air. This extremely flat basin is the perfect landscape for winds that can reach well over 100 kilometers per hour normally. We try and have some fun in the sun while we have it. And when the wind lets us, however. A really cool experience, but this definitely won't be the only time we see a salt flat on this trip of ours. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to not miss out on all of the future excursions we may have. Back on the road, we're taking a short scenic drive that's labeled as a one-way, and also not advisable in vehicles over 25 feet in length, which is actually a normal sign to see here in Death Valley. This route is called the Artist Palette, due to the side of the mountains that is covered in multiple layers and textures which produce the colors seen here. But in all honesty, I am much more of a fan of the drive in and out that winds through an extremely narrow canyon in the mountains. The next day, we're heading in a new direction, southwest, until we come to a roadblock.
We currently can't keep driving because we get some wild donkeys on the road. They're doing their own thing today.
Not our first time seeing wild burros, but this time they were just as curious about us as we are about them. However, it's time to go though. We have many sights to see. Completely alone all morning and without any internet, we feel really isolated from the rest of the world here in this corner of Death Valley. We are heading for a specific spot. We are heading for a location called Telescope Peak, another must-see and do here in Death Valley.
Wow, Death Valley is sure impressing us. We're driving on Emigrant Pass right now, heading south on Death Valley, and the views are amazing on this drive. I haven't seen a car for an hour, but we've seen the views.
We are getting pretty high up in elevation this time, high enough where snow becomes normal. Really normal. The road is in pretty bad shape, but we press on with four-wheel drive. Eventually, we feel it's not worth it and we turn around. We find out later that even further the road is completely washed away and closed due to damage from the weather last year. Oh well. Driving south out of the park, we're heading for the second half that we have yet to visit.
That's the road we just came from. Great drive. That's us right here.
We have high hopes of visiting the second half, but little do we know, this will be the last good look at the park we are ever going to have.
So it looks like this is the end of our time in Death Valley. The way this goes is to the racetrack, a well-known place where the rocks move on their own at night. And there's some other place up there like Ubahibi Crater, and really half of the park still remains to be seen. But unfortunately, roads are closed due to flooding last year. So this is it. We've seen everything we can see in the park, and you know what? We're pretty happy with what we've seen, so we're not going to cry about it too much. It's a great time. Highly recommend everything we just seen to see for yourself. Hope you get the chance.
Earlier than expected, it's time to move on. Join us next time at Just Travelin', where we're heading to Baja California in Mexico.